Most teams that get knocked out of a World Cup do the same thing. They cry in the tunnel, thank the fans, and fly home. What they don't usually do is send FIFA a legal document demanding action. Egypt did exactly that. Less than a day after their World Cup ended against Argentina in the most disputed match of the tournament so far, the Egyptian Football Association didn't just complain to the press. They filed an official protest with FIFA, called for a full investigation, and asked for the entire refereeing team to be pulled from the rest of the competition. That is not a federation sulking. That is a federation putting FIFA on the record and daring them to answer. And the uncomfortable truth for FIFA is simple. There is no answer here that makes them look clean. Let's break down exactly why. Start with what Egypt's statement actually said, because it goes further than the usual post-match noise. The federation said it could not stay silent about the officiating, pointing directly at what it called the mishandling of the video review system. It said several decisions in the match raised serious doubts about consistency, and that those doubts were not minor, they changed the outcome of the game. Egyptian FA President Hani Abo Rida went even further, personally naming French referee François Letexier and accusing him of applying two different standards depending on who was attacking. He didn't just ask for a review. He asked for the officiating crew to be removed from the tournament entirely. That's a federation president telling FIFA, on paper, that their referee decided a World Cup match and now needs to be sent home. Here's why this isn't just Egypt shouting into the void. Independent, neutral voices from outside the country watched the same footage and reached the same conclusions. With Egypt leading 1-0, Omar Marmush finished a stunning team move to make it 2-0. VAR went back nearly 20 seconds to the other end of the pitch, found a shirt pull and a stepped-on foot from Egyptian defender Marwan Attia, and wiped the goal off the board. Then, in stoppage time with the score level, Egypt appealed for a foul in Argentina's box, a shirt tug plus contact involving Mohamed Salah. VAR didn't even ask the referee to look at a screen. Argentina broke away and scored the winner seconds later. Former England goalkeeper Rob Green said on air that the disallowed goal simply wasn't the kind of incident VAR should be reaching back that far to find. Alan Shearer put it bluntly, either both incidents are fouls, or neither is, you can't have it both ways. Ian Wright said if the officials were willing to chalk off a goal for contact that far back, they owed Egypt the same level of scrutiny for the Salah incident. Jamie Carragher said in almost any major European league, that goal stands even under review. And it wasn't only English pundits. German match officials publicly stated the late penalty shout should have been given, and that nearly every contentious call in the match went against Egypt. When that many experts with zero stake in the result all land on the same conclusion, a federation's complaints stop sounding emotional and start sounding like evidence. Now here's what makes this genuinely dangerous for FIFA. Egypt's complaint didn't arrive on a quiet desk. It landed on top of a pile. This has quietly become one of the most complained about tournaments in recent memory. Belgium already filed a protest after a red card was controversially overturned. Ecuador lodged a complaint after their team was kept awake by fans firing off horns and fireworks outside their hotel the night before a knockout match. Iran complained about being forced through exhausting cross-border travel restrictions between fixtures. For federations, for separate grievances, all aimed at the same governing body inside one tournament. That's not bad luck. That's a pattern, and other federations have clearly started noticing. And sitting underneath all of it is the scandal that never fully went away, the reports that a high-profile political phone call led to a suspension being quietly lifted using a clause that had never been used at a World Cup before. That single episode cracked FIFA's credibility wide open, and every controversy since has fallen straight into that crack. Egypt isn't an isolated voice here. They're the loudest entry in a chorus that's been building all tournament, and that chorus keeps landing on the same word, rigged. Egypt's head coach didn't hold back after the final whistle, telling reporters the match had been decided before it started and that the world had seen it. One of his forwards went further, flatly calling the tournament rigged and accusing the referee of throwing away a nation's work in 90 minutes. Whether or not you buy the conspiracy angle, the accusation itself becomes the crisis. because FIFA cannot simply ignore a formal complaint asking for its own officials to be removed mid-tournament. So FIFA responded, and the response tells you everything about the corner they're now standing in. FIFA's chief refereeing officer didn't open an inquiry. He didn't say the matter would be reviewed. He came out defending the officials outright, stating that baseless accusations have no place in the sport, that nobody should be questioning the integrity of World Cup officiating, and warning that this kind of criticism puts referees and their families at risk. He insisted the refereeing department answers to no one, not even the FIFA president himself. Then he walked through both disputed calls individually, explaining that VAR has no time limit on reviewing a foul in a build-up, that the defender clearly stepped on his opponent, and that the Salah incident was ordinary contact. Read that back. Egypt asked for an investigation. FIFA's answer, within 24 hours, was a public ruling that its referees did nothing wrong and that further questioning was basically out of bounds. To be fair to FIFA for a second, because the criticism only works if it's honest. Stepping on an opponent's foot is a foul under any reading of the laws, and the rule genuinely allows VAR to look as far back as it needs to. The contact on Salah could reasonably be called coincidental rather than a deliberate foul. Even the German officials who thought Egypt deserved a penalty admitted the VAR process itself was technically followed correctly. And the point about abuse toward referees and their families is real, nobody should be sending death threats over a football decision. There's a version of this where FIFA applied an inconsistent rulebook inconsistently rather than fixed anything, and that's a very different problem than match fixing. It's also worth saying plainly, Egypt were 2 goals ahead with time running out and didn't hold on. No referee made that collapse happen. But here's the trap, and it's the whole reason this story isn't going away quietly. Whatever FIFA does next, it loses. If FIFA formally clears the officials, which their own refereeing chief has essentially already done before any real investigation, it looks exactly like a cover-up, especially from an organization already accused of bending its own rules under political pressure earlier in the tournament. Nobody believes the line that the officiating answers to no one when that same claim was already tested and, in the eyes of many fans, failed. So a clean bill of health convinces nobody and confirms every suspicion already out there. Now flip it. If FIFA quietly drops Letexier and his team from the rest of the tournament, that's effectively an admission that the officiating in Egypt's match was wrong. And if it was wrong, then every accusation of a rigged result just got unofficially validated, and Argentina's progress into the next round now carries an asterisk FIFA itself put there. There is no third option that rebuilds trust here. The damage is already done regardless of the outcome. Watch how this actually plays out, because there's a tell to look for. FIFA reviews referee performance after every match but almost never comments publicly on it. Officials for the next round are usually announced only a day or 2 before kickoff. If Letexier's name simply doesn't appear on any assignment sheet for the rest of the tournament, that's your answer, and FIFA will never say it out loud. A quiet disappearance is how an organization admits fault without ever admitting fault. Meanwhile, FIFA keeps handing its critics more ammunition. In the same window this controversy is unfolding, they assigned officiating teams for other knockout fixtures that immediately drew side-eye for perceived conflicts of interest, feeding the exact suspicion Egypt's complaint is built on. It's the kind of decision that makes even people who don't believe in conspiracies raise an eyebrow. The suspicion has turned into something close to a running joke among fans and pundits, and a running joke about your tournament's integrity is arguably worse than the original scandal, because you can investigate one bad call, but you cannot investigate a punchline. So where does this actually leave everyone? Egypt fly home from one of their best World Cup runs in years, carrying a real, painful conviction that the biggest result within their reach was decided by a screen and a rulebook applied one way for them and another for their opponents. This is a football-obsessed nation that has spent decades chasing a deep World Cup run, and to see it slip away not through being outplayed but through a controversy half the football world found suspicious is a specific kind of heartbreak that doesn't fade quickly. Argentina move on, chasing another deep World Cup run of their own, while a rival nation is left arguing that the tournament's credibility itself is now in question. FIFA sits in the middle holding a formal complaint it genuinely cannot answer honestly, because every honest answer points the finger at either its officials or itself. Egypt didn't just protest a loss. They put the integrity of this World Cup on the record, in writing, and forced FIFA to respond publicly. And no matter what FIFA says next, they walk away from this with a mark against them. So what do you think FIFA actually does here? Quietly drop the referee and pretend nothing happened, or dig in and defend the decision to the end? Drop your prediction in the comments before the next round of officials gets announced, and subscribe so you don't miss how this one plays out.